USA.gmail. And I'm referring to the paperwork for the state of Wisconsin. Could you have somebody find that and get it to me?
Will do.
All right.
Now, I'm going to answer most of what that man said real concisely. Each and every last portion of the whole thing. And I mean all of it. They've been doing this for a long time. It's bogus. It's going down. And it ain't coming back if anybody has any brains at all. They're not going to put up with that twice. And this is what part of what our efforts were in terms of the Declaration of Sovereignty that the states have made. Our country's free. And as a certain rotund gentleman said, a republic if you can keep it.
And we'd better be more diligent this time.
Exactly. I want to thank you, Alan, for calling in, and we're going to go ahead and move on to our next caller, who is Rich from area code 256. Rich, you are open.
Yes. Can everybody hear me okay?
Yes, we can.
Yep.
Yes, thank you guys for everything you're doing. I have a couple quick questions here. How long before common law will actually take effect when the sweeping and cleaning of all these individuals who've been so corrupt in the current system? And my question is going to lead to another one for that.
Just as soon as the cleansing is completed, common law takes effect.
All right. My issue is I have a traffic citation that I've been fighting back and forth with the county of Jackson here in Alabama, and I've challenged jurisdiction with them, and they're just basically doing whatever they can and running right over stuff. How do we handle something in that situation currently?
There's a lot of different ways to do that, but you've probably gotten yourself into a box. Most people do not know how to basically address that sort of situation. Anybody that's on here who has problems of this sort of nature needs to go to the Freedom School of Texas, or Texas Freedom School. Put that in your search engine, and it will lead you to a thing called driver's licenses and the federal remedy for the restriction of travel or non-restriction of travel, and the freedom to do so without taxes, plates, licenses, etc. Now, I'm going to regurgitate this. Divide everything that you think of in terms of these sorts of legalities, and I don't care what it applies to. Divide it by common law. That's going to be the law, period.
If I might offer, Drake, on the Freedom Dash School, you'll definitely want to look at Jerry Kirk's material on there because he has many of these things. Also, it's important to note that Rodney Dale Class has an action going in North Carolina that you can get from rodney-class.com, where he's suing the DMV for the conversion of him to a corporate mercenary driver without any compensation. He's seeking back pay ad infinitum from the time of the issuance of the driver's license, which is a commercial instrument that they've claimed you're a commercial operator of your private conveyance instead of being exercising your lawful right to travel. But there's much information between those two sites that can be very, very helpful.
We need to repeat those sites, please, because you said them all so fast, and my shorthand is very slow.
It's very long, right?
Well, my shorthand doesn't go as fast as... Yeah, exactly. It's very long.
The first one that Drake gave out is freedom-school.com. It's
okay,
the one
freedom-school.com.
And you'll check on Jerry Kirk's site, and there's other interesting things there. The other one would be rodney-class.com.
Freedom-school.com, and I'll go look for Texas, correct?
Yes. Well, you'll find several listings on the search engine, and the one in Texas is the one you're looking for specifically.
Well, I mean, what happened with my situation is I went there. They wanted me to enter a plea. I told them I did not understand the charges. I cannot enter a plea at this time, and they just went ahead and volunteered entering pleas and convicting me and all that. And I set it up on appeal.
You're not in a court of law. You're in a court of fiction, and they don't honor law there. They make up their own versions as they go along to suit themselves.
That's exactly what they did, too. And I sat there for several weeks now watching them just run people over ridiculously. One
right.
more question.
You'll find a lot of help in both of those areas. I mean, hats off to Rod for what he's doing now. I mean, he continues to surprise me.
Okay, one question is, let's say something happened several years ago where somebody absconded off or stole several $100,000 of, let's say, anybody's money, like my situation or somebody else's situation.
There's no statute of limitations on fraud.
Right. We
Okay.
got a lot of sorting out to do, and those are things that we're going to have to deal with once we get our country back. But the first step is to get it back.
Yeah,
get
let's
us
get it
back
back
under common law.
Exactly.
Let's get it back. I agree
right.
with that.
Well, thank you. Thank you so
Thank
much
you all
for
very much.
calling in.
Have a wonderful day. Happy
You
Easter.
Too.
Happy
You too,
Easter.
honey. Happy Easter. Okay, we are going to move on here to our next caller. And our next caller is Gina. And Gina is area code 256. Gina, are you there?
Yes,
Okay.
ma'am. I just recently seen on the internet where debtor's court is coming back, and I was curious about that. Have y'all heard anything about debtor's court coming back?
Well, in one state that I know of, they actually do have debtors' prisons, and that's Minnesota. That is not accepted in other states, as far as I know. And the criminals in Washington would love to see that happening, but that's not part of our future plan for this country. And,
Okay.
and I'd like to point out, too, everybody be cautious of what you see coming out of Washington on mainstream media and certain internet sites as well that play into the fear-mongering being used against the American people on a daily basis. They would love to keep you all scared, timid, and quiet.
Yes, ma'am. Yes, ma'am.
So-
I totally agree.
Yeah,
With
be
those
careful
things-
what you believe about that.
I mean,
With
I
those
believe what
things-
you're saying. The news is bought off by, I already know that the big corporations, and we only hear what we want to hear. And I found out from a friend of mine the other day. She has a friend that lives on an Air Force base over in Europe. And do you know they only get 4 channels? They don't get even the European news because they don't want them to really know what's going on in this country.
It's not working. Those boys are finding out anyway.
That's right, and y'all are such a blessing. I pray for y'all's continued success, and I just can't believe how awesome y'all are, because y'all are truth keepers.
I would
You're
note,
welcome.
in response to her debtors' prisons and courts that she's talking about, the IRS has also proclaimed that they're going to invoke or inculcate or demonically brew NAT teams, nuisance abatement teams, to have Viper-like teams or military assault forces posed as collection agents.
They
Great
can make a
information.
lot of claims, but getting it done is something else
Right.
altogether.
Exactly. Gina, I want to say thank you for calling in.
I want to say
And,
thank you, dear, and y'all keep us updated. And happy Easter from Alabama. And you know me, I'm gonna start writing questions down. I'll be calling back.
All right, hon. We welcome you. Anytime.
Deatra, I noticed that you put in the Skype room, there's a lot of people in the chat room who are wanting to know what to expect for those in foreclosures, which are rampant right now.
Well, yeah, that's one of the questions, yes.
For those of you with foreclosure problems right now, my best advice is to get involved and join the weekly support group with What Lies in Your Debt, Monday, Tuesday, and Wednesday nights, but especially on Tuesday nights with What Lies in Your Debt team. And that call takes place at 8 p.m. Eastern Standard, and that number is 724-444-7444. The PIN number is 98842 pound. If it asks you for a PIN a second time, you hit pound and the number 1. That will lead you to some remedies that you can learn about and enact right now before things get solved. But when this is all done and we get our country back and all of this has got to be unraveled and all of the theft made right, we have one of the biggest parts of the job that we're going to have to do is making people whole. So all of that is going to go away. That is going to be resolved. But I caution any listeners out there who are cashing in on what's going on with this horrible foreclosure mess and buying foreclosed properties. Not such a good idea, because sooner or later, the people who lost those homes are going to have to be made whole.
Exactly. Thank you, Teri.
You're welcome.
Teri, we're going to move on to our next caller, who is Sasha, out of 734 area code. Sasha, you are open, hon.
Hi. You're
Hello.
a godsend. I'm so glad that you're there. I'd like to make known, I want to have contact access to some websites or emails or phone numbers or any of the above. Now, my question has started from becoming sovereign out of being pushed into a corner where human resolution went into the toilet fairly immediately, and I've lost 2 homes to foreclosure, so that I've already been aware of that, what lies in your debt. I'm past that point. Right now I'm dealing with trying to tide myself over until remedy can come into play with the bankruptcy court, and they're kicking me out pretty soon. But I've been dealing with a rogue, corrupt judge and the prosecuting attorney. As far as communicating with my neighbors, it would be nice to have some sovereign people in southern Missouri to connect with, because everyone I talk to here is like, they got their head in the soil. But they're all watching me. I'm still here, and they're kind of curious why I have not been removed from my property, but it's getting pretty close. So I do want to know, how do I have incorporated, what do they call it? Not the commercial lien, but, the docs with incorporating yourself as a sovereign, but in commerce. And I've been learning along the way the last 4 years things that I've been doing wrong. How do I get my sovereign notice? I'm redoing them again, and I'm the signature and the commerce and the birth rights that we have. I do want to get confirmation, and I do understand that we are a wealthy nation. It's just it has not been. It's like coughing up the fur ball. and I think that once people become aware of collectively on a major scale, everyone's going to fall in suit and say, "Oh, well, the light bulb's going off." And but we have to have some genuinely, as you're saying, honorable people who are the wayfarers, I will say. So I do want to get involved more, since I'm pretty much out in the boonies, and there's no one to talk to. I have been losing people by the wayside. They've been getting greedy with paperwork, and now that they got their little bonds going and their information and their paperwork filed here and there, and so it seems like once I get stuff established and ideas going, and they kind of want to keep me on hidden wraps, so to say. Don't want to get too much information out too fast to too many people, and no one's really getting a grip on what's happening here. and commerce, and what our lawful